Hey everyone, so as mentioned earlier in the week, since making over 100 videos on YouTube, quite narrowly centered on the law of attraction and manifestation, I'm broadening out to include a wider view at our culture and certain figures gaining a lot of attention. So today, I'd like to spend a bit of time talking about Jordan Peterson. If you're familiar with Jordan Peterson, I think we've all heard enough regarding his stance on issues like the gender pronouns legislation or what's called the Gender Identity Bill of C-16, which was created with the aim to provide human rights protections for transgender and gender-diverse people in Canada. We've also probably heard enough about his clash with much of the liberal to far-left media outlets regarding Neo-Marxism, Postmodernism, and even New Atheism. But I wanted to focus on some things about Jordan that are more positive or worth listening to, and most importantly, how they touch this philosophy of mind in the law of attraction. So let's get started. Good morning, peeps. Thanks for popping by. I'm Derek London. Pour up a fresh cup of joe and settle in while we discuss everything law of attraction. We got pithy thoughts, FAQs, quotes, book reviews, everything you need to get the day started off feeling in control. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons below. Let's get right into it, shall we? Hey good people, so I don't know exactly what can be accomplished within the few minutes I allow for these morning inspiration videos, but let's see what we can do anyway. First of all, I'd like to express sympathies for what Jordan Peterson and his family have been through lately. His daughter has had all kinds of gravely serious health issues over the years. His wife just went through a very invasive cancer surgery, which resulted in an extremely rare and major complication. She almost didn't make it, in fact. Meanwhile, being that Jordan Peterson suffers from clinical depression, he experienced severe clonazepam withdrawals and just recently landed himself in rehab following his wife's recovery from surgery. So the man is clearly no stranger to personal tragedy. Unsurprisingly, he said some very useful and insightful things on clinical depression and living meaningfully, contending with life's hardships. Something I believe could be of merit in this community of the law of attraction. You know, we've heard slogans here like, you can't manifest depressed, and so many unpractical, vacuous things on vibing right, which sometimes hurts our cause, makes us look fundamentalist, if you will. Yet it only takes a brief look into personal development and self-transformation to discover that some of the most influential, inspiring people throughout history have suffered immensely with depression and tragedy. Now, I've disagreed with Peterson in the past that life fundamentally is a tragedy, that life is suffering. While those things are completely unavoidable at times, I do believe on a basic level that thought and intention, and even attention, are primary. Having made that distinction, however, Jordan Peterson is one of the few public intellectuals right now preaching a positive message on how to live meaningfully and with nobility. After years of victim-mongering, nihilism, a deep-seated allergy towards religion, and a steady diet of rights and freedoms promulgated in the media, this has been a very refreshing message to hear, and that's evident in his rise to international fame. A couple of years ago, he produced a series of lectures on the Bible overall, and especially the book of Genesis. It was a psychological analysis of the world's most influential book. But deeper than that, he, as I, believe that much of our basic assumptions or presuppositions, especially here in the West, stem from a philosophy that is inescapably Judeo-Christian. I've listened to these lectures in their entirety, a little bit discombobulated and random, but nevertheless interesting. Now, as it concerns the law of attraction, I believe a lot of the metaphysics discussed in his second video of that series on chaos and order coincide with many of the same beliefs in this community. It's a nice break from the predictable six-day creationist take on Genesis, which has largely been refuted scientifically. Or if you're interested in the ego, paradigms, perception, and metacognitive aspects in the law of attraction, I'd also recommend watching his fourth video in that series on self-consciousness, evil, and death. I've watched a lot of Jordan Peterson, and he certainly doesn't fit conventions. He's an evolutionist, yet a religious apologist. He's a religious apologist, yet I wouldn't necessarily call him a theist, although he uses the word God. Something Bishop Barron noted about him is how his take on God is very psychological and Kantian. He's kind of similar to how Jonathan Haidt, another guy I really like, tends to reduce religion to its phenomenology and more of an outgrowth of Darwinian natural selection rather than being fundamentally true. Another thing that's unusual is his devotion to traditional methodological reductive science, yet has said he is not a materialist. He stated before that reality is not constructed of stuff, in his opinion, but believes it's made of meaning, a purely mental property. So him and I would probably have a couple of things in common in that regard. Many of the new atheists have attacked him for being New Age. I suppose that's to be expected. And even in his lectures, he'd often say, I know this sounds super New Agey. So he is usually quite surprising. In areas you'd expect him to be kind of idealist, he toes the predictable established academic line. But then he makes very esoteric statements at times which make him almost sound like he's a proponent of the law of attraction. I would say the most popular part of Jordan Peterson's message is his advice on adopting responsibility. He's come to be known as a kind of father figure, with various memes going viral, generally with the exclamation, "Clean your damn room!" I agree with him that much of man's meaning and happiness is derived from getting under a load and carrying it as far as you can. You certainly aren't helping people by infantilizing them to victimhood all the time. He also tends to do this with a rehearsed duty-bound tone that doesn't always get the best response. Now, there are hundreds of hours of lecture time uploaded to his YouTube channel and other content, which is full of great practical advice for adopting such responsibility. He talks about great skills such as building and keeping a schedule, forming new habits, facing your fears, interacting with the opposite sex, confronting personal tragedy, putting your house in order, and lots of the same stuff that I talk about on my channel. If you follow my channel, you know that I've focused a fair amount of attention on the debate between philosophical idealism and materialism or logical positivism. If you're into that, I realize it's somewhat recondite. Well, his debates with Sam Harris were kind of fun and yet slightly irritating at the same time, if you guys want to check that out. It generally degenerated into argument for the sake of argument, but at least they always started off with the best of intentions. Anyways, we're running out of time, but I guess the point of this video is, if you're looking for someone who's academic but discusses spirituality and meaning, he's awesome. I'll likely even touch on him in the future seldomly. That's it for today, folks. Tell me in the comments below what some of your favorite Jordan Peterson advice or moments have been. And if you'd like me to speak further on anything Jordan Peterson, let me know. This is Derek London. We'll see you tomorrow, peeps. Hey guys, did you like this video? You know what to do. And if something I mentioned today resonated with you, click one of them cards on this screen. I have lots of related content sure to interest you. Thanks as always for your views, and we'll see you next time.